Okay, quiet down, everyone. Let me get everyone's attention, please. Thanks. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. I want to finish 2 lectures. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to have 1 lecture first, and then we're going to take a quiz and a break, and we're going to have a second lecture. It's a little bit shorter than the first one. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Let's see. Quiz is on invertebrates. Okay, so it should be, I think it should be all right. Right, the last thing that's going to be on it is the stuff we talked about yesterday, kind of derms. All right, so let's. I want to show you guys some stuff first. Okay, look. So over the weekend, you know how I went to San Francisco? I went to my friend's church on Sunday, and I found this in like the little kids area. They made this everything out of paper plates, right? Why do you think I was mad when I saw this?
Crabs are red.
This crab is red, right? That one's half red. Yeah, they failed. Oh, and these ones, I mean, I guess they shouldn't be swimming, but like, at least they're not red, right? So, good. I'm glad you guys learned that. All right. Okay, so, all right, quiet down, everyone. All right, so let's do a quick recap of what we talked about yesterday. Sea stars, right? Okay. Look, this is a sea star. It is in the phylum Echinodermata, and it is in the class Asteroidea. You guys remember this? Asteroidea? Okay. So, sea stars, right? What are some of the body parts that they have? 2 feet, the water vascular system, and the madreporite. Yeah, exactly. So, can you identify the madreporite on the sea star? Like, what does it look like? It looks like a hole, right? It's off center, and what side is it on? The aboral surface. Good. Why did you say aboral? Because the underside, the oral surface, is not where it is, right? Okay, so what is the function of the madreporite? Yeah, to get the water in and out of the water vascular system, right? Okay, the water vascular system moves the water around, distributing oxygen, all that stuff, powering the 2 feet suction, okay? Okay, good. So, what are the other members of Echinodermata? Not an oyster, that's a mollusk. Oh, you said asteroidea. Okay. Well, this is an asteroidea. Okay, so how about besides this? No. That's a fish. That's a chordate. Oh, we gotta stay in the same phylum here. Yeah. Okay. What are the other ones? Oh, there's 3, aren't there? There's 3 other ones? Sea cucumbers. Brittle star. And how about the most echino one out of all of them? Sea urchin. Good. Okay. What does echino even mean? Spiny. Okay, so echinoderm is spiny skin, right? Okay, so yeah, we have sea stars. Okay, asteroidea, echinoidea, sea urchins, holothuroidea, sea cucumbers, ophiuroidea, brittle stars, right? Which one's the one that? Or sorry, I'm not gonna say that. What is the brittle star lacking that the other 3 have? 2 feet. Yeah. Okay, and then all of them, what type of symmetry do they have? They have like a faux radial symmetry, right? And it's pentamerous, which means it has like the 5 points, okay? The one that's not radial is the sea cucumber, but all of them you can tell is not radial when you look at its, what? When you look at what part? When you look at the larva, right? When you look at the larva, it turns out it's bilaterally symmetric, and the larva is called a what? I think I heard it. Cluteus. Yeah. Okay, make sure you guys want to know your larval types. Okay, look, we got planula. That's a sea anemone or like a cnidarian, right? Okay, we got zoea, crabs and stuff like that. Okay? And then we have parenchyma for sponge. And then we have veliger for the mollusk. And now we have Cluteus for the kind. Okay? So there's only a couple more larval types that we're going to cover, but make sure we're getting all those down. I know the larvae have weird names, but most of them start with a P, so it helps a little bit, right? Okay. So other than that, I guess I just want to tell you about this real quick. Okay. So this is like a dried sea star that you might find at an aquarium gift shop, right? And you know, I think these are pretty cool. I bought one when I was a kid, and then in, I don't know, like 3rd grade or something, when the first time I ever found a sea star at the beach, I was so excited, and I took it home, and it died after a few days. And after that, I was like, oh, it's okay, you know, I could just dry it up and turn it into one of these, right? So I put it outside to dry in the sun. Oh, you heard this last night, right? Yeah. And what happened to it?
It died.
No, I mean, yeah, it died, but what happened to it?
Flat.
Yeah, it turned like completely flat, like completely. Like, so you see how this has like some depth? It's like an inch high, right? It turned completely flat, like only a couple millimeters, like 4 or 5 millimeters, like half a centimeter. It's like completely flat. It was like the same height. It was so weird, and I tried looking for it, but I couldn't find it to show you guys. But afterward, you know, I caught another sea star, and it died again, and I tried it again, and the second one turned flat as well. So I was like, okay, this is not working out. I stopped collecting sea stars because I was wasting them. But then one day I read this book. It was like some seashore book, and it said that if you find a sea star on the beach and you want to preserve it like this, then you have to boil it. So I tried that, and then I dried it out in the sun, and it works. So there you go. You gotta boil the sea star first in order to make that. You know
Wait,
what I mean?
if it's alive or...
No. Wait until it's dead at least. It's a little inhumane. Okay. Alright, so is everybody good with echinoderms? Good with that? I think we covered everything. Okay, so after that we started talking about chordata, right? Okay, so with chordata, organisms with a notochord. What's a notochord? Yeah, okay, so in us, it is a spine. But do all chordates have a spine? We talked about a few that don't even have a backbone, right? What were they? Can you give me some examples? A sea squirt, tunicate, right? What else? What else was there? A lamprey, yeah, not even a lamprey has a backbone. And a lancelet, right, and a hagfish. Okay, so those are some examples of chordates that don't even have a spine, but they have a notochord, right? So it may be made out of bone, it may be made out of some other tissue. What does it do?
It protects the dorsal nerve.
Yeah, it protects and supports the dorsal nerve cord. It's the nerve cord that runs from your brain to the rest of your body that happens to be on your back, okay? Usually in other invertebrates, it's on the stomach, the ventral side, right? But in our case, it's on the dorsal side, so we need some sort of protection because the back is like the most vulnerable part of your body, right? So we have a notochord. Okay, besides those two, what other features should chordates have? Gill slits. Do you have gill slits right now? No. No, so how is it okay that you're a chordate? Yeah, so you had them when you were an embryo. Okay, so it's okay. What else should we have? A post-anal tail, but we also don't have a post-anal tail, so where did it go? Or where was it? When was it? When we were in embryo. Okay, so again, you can always revert back to the larval type to discover some truths about the organism, right? So same with the tunicate, the sea squirt, subphylum Chordata. It doesn't have many of the chordatan features, but if you go back and look at its larva, which was called a, what was it called? It was called a tadpole larva, right? It had all 4 chordatan features, so therefore it lived too. It was a chordate. Okay. Feeding style. What was it? Feeding style of a tunicate. Filter feeding. Same with lancelet. Okay, and then lancelet is part of Cephalochordata. So what is the 3rd subphylum then? Vertebrata. Okay, so vertebrata, right? That's where our discussion has led up to now. Vertebrata has 7 classes, and we covered the first one, which is called Anatha. Yeah, what does Anatha mean? Jawless, right? So jawless fish, right? We got a couple examples, lampreys and hagfish. How do you eat with no jaws again? By scraping, suction, something like that. Does that all sound familiar? Yeah? Okay. So hopefully you guys saw the solution to worksheet 7 or maybe have tried to work on it yourself. Most of what you'll have to know about chordates is on that, but there will be a couple more things that we're going to cover today. It's not on the worksheet, but it's not too much extra stuff. Okay. All right, you guys. So let's get started. Today we're going to talk about the second group, right? Sharks. Look, this is a picture of my desktop background when I was in 10th grade, I think. All right, I made this on the computer. I just took the 10 most dangerous sharks and put them next to each other, right? Okay, in reality, I think only the first 4 are accurately ranked, but the other ones is kind of debatable, right? Does anybody know any of these species? Yeah.
Great whites and mangroves, lemon, hammerhead, and white tips.
Which direction are you going?
Random.
I think she went this way, but yeah. Okay, so that is a great white, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else? This is a short fin mako. That is a lemon, and that's a hammerhead. So this kind of went diagonally. But what? Anybody else?
Oceanic white tip.
Which one?
One of the
That one. Yeah, that's the oceanic white tip, right? Anybody else?
Bull
What's the second one?
Top right.
Top right, bull shark, yeah. Top one is a tiger, right? So yeah, I think these first 4 might be accurately ranked, but the rest of them is kind of debatable, right? This is called bronze whaler, right? Blue, black tip, lemon, and great hammerhead, right? Okay, but otherwise, the point is these are just sharks, right? Sharks are a member of the second class of the subphylum Vertebrata. Okay, so we're gonna talk about these guys, right? Sharks. Okay, I really like sharks. Look, in high school, we had AIM, okay? This was like 2003, 2004, all right? And that was my screen name. It rhymes. Look, Yin Yang Shark Man. I just thought that was so cool. I draw sharks, and I collect shark stuffed animals, and I showed you guys a megalodon tooth yesterday, right? It was over there. But other than that, yeah, I really like sharks. So I draw sharks, right? And I also tutored some kids in math one time, and they were drawing sharks. Okay, so this was a little kid. He was like 5th grade, and this is the other guy. His brother was in 6th, right? And they were just drawing sharks one day. I don't know why. And then when they were finished, they showed me to ask me if they looked good or not. And I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good. And then you want to know? He asked me, hey Nin, can you draw a shark? I'm like, oh, can I? Oh, so then I drew this one, and then I gave it to them, right? So the crazy thing about this is, and when I came back every week, he would show me a new shark. Man, he's been practicing. Look at this. Every week, he like made adjustments to it, and it just got better and better. So I just thought that was pretty funny. So just for you guys, I'm gonna teach you all how to draw a shark. Okay? So let's do this. All right. I'm serious, by the way. Okay? You're gonna be tested on this. Okay. I'm gonna turn that off. You're gonna accidentally draw the one. All right. Okay. So you want to start off like. Okay. So I prefer drawing sharks facing towards the left, but I mean towards the right is okay too. So we're gonna do it towards the left. Look, right here, you're gonna just make a line that's kind of like this. All right, kind of shallow, a little curve like that. All right, make a curve like that. It's gonna be the top of the head, and then this part's the nose. Right. Okay, so right below, we're gonna kind of mirror this, but only go part way. So maybe like, maybe like 2 there. Okay, and once you got that, then you're gonna make the exact same shape, but like upside down. Okay, so you made an arc like this, and then you're gonna make an arc like this. I see that? It's like the same shape, but it's upside down. Right. Okay, so from here, from this point, you're gonna make a new one of these. Exact same, right? Almost exactly the same. Okay, and then you can connect it like this. Okay. So continue on. Let's extend it a little bit. And roughly at this point, we should think about putting the gills and the fin here. So let's put the fin like right around there. And in this section, we'll put the gills, okay? Now here's the second most important fact that you'll learn in this class. Okay, the first one, what is the first most important fact?
Crabs are not red.
Crabs are not red. Second most important fact. Sharks have 5 gills, okay? In I don't know why, but everybody only draws 3 or 4. It drives me crazy. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not that hard. Okay, 5. Okay, next comes the fin, right? So let's draw the pectoral fin. Make it like, I don't really know how to describe this shape, but just follow along as best you can. Okay, so like this, and then the second one is like a little bit shallower, sorry. Okay, like this. Okay, and then make it go back a little bit and towards the body like that. Yeah. Okay, so then we can draw that part. The top, extend it until like this point right here. Extend it until like roughly that point, so just like back to there. Okay, so here's a one rule about drawing sharks that's useful. The dorsal fin occurs after the pectoral fin. Okay, so you don't want to draw that one first. You want to draw it later. So I always make the top line go until roughly this point before I start making this, which is basically it looks like a triangle, right? Basically it looks like a triangle, but then the back part, it kind of curves backwards, and then for some reason shark fins always look like they're about to get cut off by scissors or something. Okay, so make it go back. Okay, how are we doing? Are we following along? Yeah. Okay, so continuing on with the back part. So roughly once you got like the same distance here, you're gonna draw the pelvic fin. The pelvic fin is gonna look like this. And if you wanna draw a male, then you wanna extend this really long like that. That's the clasper, or its penis, right? But if you wanna draw a female, then you could just stop like right here. Okay, since we're on the back side, at this point we should think about tapering the sharks towards the tail. So start angling towards, start tapering it in. Start tapering this part too. Okay, so right here, we're gonna draw the anal fin. It looks like this, but you can get away if you just wanna draw around this or something like that. Yeah, like a diamond shape. And the one on top, you could draw another one too. Like you can get away with that. But if you wanna be like, super accurate, then you can make it look like this or like this, but a more curvy version. So kind of like that. Okay, that's called the second dorsal fin. All right, we're almost done here. Okay, so it should be tapered now, and we're about to draw the tail, the caudal fin, right? Okay, so the way you draw a tail is, well, if you're drawing a normal shark, most normal sharks have a longer upper lobe than a lower lobe, right? But for a great white, which is the most iconic shark, I guess, you want both lobes to be roughly equal, the top being slightly longer, right? Okay, you're gonna kind of make an arc like this that goes almost up to the top fin, and then an arc on the bottom that goes like almost the same length, but not quite. And then you guys can connect the inside part kind of like this. I actually find the tail the hardest to draw, by the way. I don't know why. I always kind of screw that one up. Okay, that's good enough, right? That's good enough. Okay, so we have our basic outline of the shark now. Let's add in some of the, touches, right? Okay, so you can draw the caudal keel here, which is like, it's like the muscle line, like, when you draw a line that shows the contours, right? Caudal keel, and over here, you can put the eye. The eye is in front of the mouth, okay? So that's something that you should know. So I usually draw the eye like right above this inflection point right there, okay? And if you want to draw a cool eye, you just make a C. Yeah, that's a cool eye. I don't know, like if you like color it in, it looks dorky. Like you could try it, but if you want a cool eye, Just draw a C there. Okay, almost finished. Okay, so starting from here, if we want to draw the line, right, that goes across its whole body, we want to start roughly here near the top of the nose, and we kind of want to follow the mouth. So watch this. We kind of want to follow the mouth like this, go through the gills, and connect it to the top of the pectoral fin like there. Is there a really ugly shark over there? Okay, and then from the back, you want to go from the back of the pectoral fin or here, either one, and connect it to the top of the pelvic fin and take from here to the caudal keel. And then you can connect the caudal keel to the bottom right there. Okay, so if you want, you can color in the top gray, and then that will make it counter shaded, right? We'll talk about what counter shading means later. Finishing touches, teeth, right? Okay, here's a mistake that all young drawers, illustrators make, right? You're putting huge teeth in there. Make the teeth small and only on the bottom jaw, all right? That's what it actually looks like, all right? Small and only on the bottom jaw. And if you want, you can put the second pectoral fin right there. Make the bottom tip black. There you go, right? Now you guys are experts drawing a shark. Let's see. Does it look good? It looks okay. I could have done a little bit better. But
Is you on the test?
what's that?
You're on the final?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
It should be like the whole grade.
It should be the whole grade. Well, if that were the case, I wouldn't have passed a single person.
No, how about this? That's extra credit. So if any questions we get wrong, if we're able to draw that stroke perfectly,
Oh yeah?
that makes up for all the wrong questions we get.
Maybe. That's a good deal. Okay. All right, you guys. So let's get back into this, right? I'll come around and check your sharks during the break. Okay, settle down, everyone. I know you guys are super proud of yourselves, but I'm gonna need you guys to quiet down while we finish this, or while we move on. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, this is a tiger shark, right? And that's called a mora, right? Let's label our shark. Okay, the shark that you guys drew with its external anatomy. Okay, so we'll start with the body positions that we've already talked about, right? We know front and back, anterior, posterior, and we just learned two more, right? What else did we learn? Dorsal and ventral, right? So dorsal means along the back, and ventral means along the stomach, right? Okay, dorsal and ventral. So we should know our body positions by now, and then side to side is called lateral, but I didn't include it here. Okay, so anyways, continuing on, the fins, right? Okay, did we remember what these are called? Gill slits, right? How many? 5. Okay, and what is this fin called? What are those fins called? These ones? Anybody remember? They're called the pectoral fins, right? Because they're where your arms are. Okay, pectoral fins. What's that one called? Dorsal fin, because it's along the dorsal surface. Therefore, what is this one called then? It's called the. What's that one? That one is called the second dorsal fin, right? Okay. Down here we got these two little fins. Okay, the one in the front is called the pelvic fin, pelvic for hip, and the one in the end is called the anal fin. Okay. And then the last fin that we have is the tail fin, but it's actually called the caudal fin. Caudal means tail or back end. Okay, so make sure you guys are labeling your little sharks and you guys know all the different fin names. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at them. Let's see if they look good. Yeah. Ran out of speed. Yeah, that was good. Show me there. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Good one right there. the best one. Oh, they're all good. That's pretty good. Okay. All right, you guys. So, good job. You guys did some pretty good things. Okay. Everyone's got to quiet down. All right, let's get back to class. Okay, let's come back. All right. So, no discussion of sharks is complete without talking about senses. Everybody makes such a big deal about its senses. Okay, so let's really talk about its senses for a second. Okay, everybody talks about its smell is so good, right? Well, looking at this, diagram, which is, a little bit, is also debated, but still, what does this depict as the best sense be? Hearing. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Why should it be hearing? Sound travels the furthest through water, so by default, sea animals should have hearing as their best sense, right? Okay, so sharks actually, when they're looking for prey, they hear for a wounded fish, struggling fish, and then when they get close enough, then they start using their other senses. Okay, so smell is not their best sense, right? It's actually hearing. Okay, so don't get caught up with that. Let's watch this little clip from the Mythbusters that shows you guys what they think of the smell sense, right? Okay. Oh, it's super soft.
Jamie, what's this one about?
Well, you tell me, what is the classic shark myth?
Oh, it is that one I've seen on every single documentary ever. That a shark can detect a drop of blood in an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
Yeah.
The water will contain the precise concentration of blood. In this test, we're using red food dye. It will be lowered into the tank and ruptured as a shark approaches. Adams devised an ingenious little popping device. 2 syringes, a rubber tube, and a scalpel. Simply press and...
What? Okay.
That's really is that's right. That's it. Here we go. Part fish blood to 1,000 parts water.
Release the trigger just before he gets to it. Okay, they're swimming well towards the bank. All right, let's let them swim up a little higher. Take your time.
Go. The condom popper swings into action.
Now, on the second or third pass, if they smell it, they'll start
Go right into it now.
Yeah. Oh, he turned, he sped up, he turned.
Yeah, pull that knee.
Turned and sped up. Definitely was, I would say 100% that was a response.
The tank is drained and refilled between each test. The sharks were excited by the smell of fish blood. But does human blood whet their appetites?
1, 2, 3.
This time, the amount of blood isn't important. It's a straight-out taste test. Jamie, Adam, and Carrie all give blood.
What's happening? That's it. Now, they've been through it. They've been through it. They didn't turn around. There's plenty of blood.
The lemon sharks don't even flick a fin.
Yeah, now they are accelerating, but they're see, they've been through it there. They've been through it.
But watch what happens when Dr. Kruger squeezes a little fish juice in there.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, they like the fish juice, don't they? Oh,
Yeah, that's really different than what they just did with our blood.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
we're
And that,
getting more of the
I
blood.
would say that's pretty good proof.
The cliche shark myth. A drop of blood in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. What are the results?
Busted. That is, unless of course the shark's head happens to be directly under the drop of blood when it falls in the water.
The preference for human blood over fish blood.
Busted.
Okay, so what do we see here? Shark sense of smell? Oh, pretty average, I'd have to say. Look, the best that we can say about a shark's sense of smell is that it's probably better than an average fish because it's a predator, but that's about as much as we can say. We shouldn't give it too much credit, right? We should instead talk about senses that it has that other things that don't have, right? That would actually be impressive. Okay, so sharks' best sense is hearing, right? It's not their smell, and I mean that's only because sound travels far underwater. So in that sense, everything has good hearing. Okay, so what should we focus on? We should focus on senses, like I said, that other things don't. Okay, sharks can detect electric fields. All right. Now here's the thing: every animal produces electric field. It's really small because your brain communicates with your muscles via electricity, like sodium, potassium ions. There's very, very small electric field there. Okay, so then as long as your heart is beating or your muscles are twitching, then a shark could sense you if it is close enough, right? So let's watch this other video that shows that in action. Oh, where'd it go? There we go.
Scientists have devised an experiment to see what sense the hammerhead is using. When taste, smell, touch, sight, and hearing just aren't enough, might they be able to detect an electric field? By placing electrodes under the floor of the tank, they can replicate the electricity generated by a prey item. In theory, the sharks should be able to detect that minute force.
Look at the sharks that come in and bite at the electrodes. As if it were a fish or a crab or something buried into the sand.
Will be the hammerhead's sense of smell that will first trigger the urge to hunt.
Squid juice. We're just using odor to trigger them.
We use different senses from different distances. So you can imagine a shark might get a smell of a wounded prey struggling just under the sand from perhaps tens of meters away.
The shark goes into classic hunting mode, swimming in ever tighter figures of 8 to try and detect the source of the smell. But at the last minute, Steve throws the switch.
Electrode is on. Right.
Coming in.
Strike.
Good bite at 2. Good bite at 2. And off. Okay, see, coming in fast. Electrode is on. Spinning around, but bite, flip, clear. Clear biting.
Wow.
Beautiful. All right, switch that on. Another electrode on. Got it. Look at that. Spinning right around.
Nice.
Multiple repeated bites. That is very clear.
Hey, that looks good.
Score.
Woo.
Well done.
All right.
Okay, what was it biting at? Was there a fish there? No, it was this electrode providing some sort of electric current, which fooled the shark into thinking, right? I mean, I guess they could have edited the video, of course, right? But still, the point is, they have an electric sense, right? They can sense electricity using this interesting organ, right? It's a series of pores that you guys see right here. Okay, see these pores near its nose? It senses electric fields. It's called the ampullae of Lorenzini, right? And it works because all, animals as we know it, when they use their muscles, uses electric currents, right? Very weak ones. Okay, so this is worth talking about, right? This is cool. This is something that no other thing, I wouldn't say no other things, but a few other things could do, right? Humans don't have this sense. If we did, I don't see how it could help us that much, but at least it helps hammerhead sharks find prey hidden under the sand that they cannot see or touch, right? Okay, so is this that unique? Sort of, right? Most fish cannot do this. However, I'll tell you something that can. Rays, all right? If you guys look on the underside of rays, we'll find the same set of pores. Turns out rays and skates can also detect electrical impulses. Okay, so why is it that these things can also detect the electricity just like sharks can? Because they're the same thing, all right? Look, sharks and rays are in the same group, right? So skates and rays, let's talk about those real quick. They're like a flat shark, right? So these are basically sharks that have decided to live on the bottom, right? And they're living on the bottom, they become flat. We have two types of things, skates and rays. The main difference is the fact that skates have kind of like a shark-like tail, whereas rays have like a skinny tail, right? Okay, so stingrays, right? We all know that it has a little stinger here. What do you think that stinger is made of? Calcium carbonate, like everything else, okay? Yes, that is a calcareous barb, and since calcium carbonate is brittle, right, then when it stings you, oftentimes it breaks off inside of your leg, right? And then you have to deal with it somehow, okay? So let's talk about this group. Sharks, skates, rays, ratfish, right? This comprises the second class of subphylum Vertebrata known as chondrichthyes. Right? Chondrichthyes. Ichthyes. Does anyone know what ichthyes means? Ichthyes, like an ichthyologist of fish, right? Yeah. Ichthyes means fish. Chond means cartilage. Okay, so cartilaginous fish. What am I trying to imply? Their skeleton is made out of cartilage. Okay? Cartilaginous fish, that's what chondrichthyes means. So they don't have bones, right? You cut open a shark or a ray and you won't find any bones. You only find just a bunch of cartilage. The hardest part of a shark are its teeth, right? The rest of it is just cartilage, okay? All right, so let's take a look at skeleton, right? Skeleton looks like this. You notice it has a skull. It has the gill arches. And in addition, it has a vertebral column. This is the first instance of an actual vertebrae, right? It's not made of bone yet, but at least it's a full vertebrae. It doesn't have that many bones throughout, so it's not super like protective as a skeleton, right? Not like ours. We have a nice little rib cage here that protects our organs, but this one doesn't really have that. However, at least having a cartilaginous skeleton offers it flexibility and maneuverability. Okay, so it's very agile, fast. Okay, so yeah, sharks can turn really quickly. They can make tight turns and stuff. But yeah, shark skeleton. Big improvement over the hagfish, right? Because what did the hagfish have? That's it, right? Just that part. But at least this one has the rest, right? It has like a protective nodal cord back there, right? Okay, cool. So, what do you guys think? What does shark skin feel like? Does anybody know?
Very rough.
Rough, right? So it feels rough because if you zoom in microscopically, it has a bunch of scales called placoid scales, or you can also call them denticles, either one, right? Denticles for teeth. And these scales, they feel rough when you rub against it a certain way, right? So I don't know if you guys noticed by the fact that they're layered like shingles, but if you rub them one way, they're gonna feel smooth, and if you rub them the other way, they're gonna feel rough, right? So which way do you think feels smooth? Left to right or right to left? Left to right. Okay, this way it's gonna feel very smooth. This way it's gonna feel very rough, like sandpaper. Okay, so why do you think the shark wants to feel smooth in one direction? What was that? Oh, if an animal gets on top of it, what would it want to do with that animal? Like, how would that help? Oh, I see. Are you thinking of roof shingles and stuff?
Yeah.
And you're trying to get the snow off your roof or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. These are microscopic. Okay, so they're not going to do anything to other organisms on top of this.
It reduces drag when swimming forward.
Yeah, okay, so what does it make the shark able to do? Yeah, swim faster, right, so exactly. So since it feels smooth going this way, if the shark is moving this way instead of this way, then it is going to be faster, right? So it, like the shortfin mako here, the fastest shark, it has its denticles facing this way so that when it swims forward, there's less drag, okay? What's drag? It's like a frictional force between the water or air and your body, okay, or your vehicle. Okay, so you reduce drag, less friction, and it can go faster. So there you go. That's denticles for you guys. Okay, so speaking of teeth, right? Let's talk about teeth in a couple of minutes. Rays, right? Rays are a really interesting group of chondrichthyes because they live on the bottom, right? When you live on the bottom, it's called the benthic life, right? They like to live in the benthic area. Benthic means on the ground, pelagic means in the water, okay? So rays, they like to live in the benthic, so in order to do so, or like an adaptation to do so, they become very flat, okay? And the way we describe them as being flat is dorsal ventral compression, which means from the dorsal to their ventral side, they're compressed, so they're flat that way. Okay, there's a lot of fish that are flat this way, okay, like a butterfly fish or a surgeonfish. Right? A lot of reef fish are flat this way, okay, but that one would be called lateral compression, right? It's like this. This one, when they're flat this way, like a pancake, is dorsal ventral compression. Okay, so dorsally ventrally compressed, that's how you describe it. It's flat like this, and that's an adaptation to living on the ground. Okay, so the benthic lifestyle right here. Okay, so being on the benthic area all the time, it's probably going to be eating a bunch of benthic organisms, right? Give me an example of a benthic organism. A crab, perfect. Okay, I was hoping someone would say that because crabs crawl around, they're probably not swimming around. Okay, so they're benthic as well. They're eating crabs. How do you eat a crab? With teeth like this. You see, this is a stingray tooth, and it is flat like your molars, right? And what do you do with your molars? Crush, right? Crushing hard-shelled things like crabs and mollusks. Okay, that makes sense because you gotta think. It lives on the ground, so it's going to eat other things that are on the ground. Most of the things that are living on the ground are hard, right? You got bivalves, you got gastropods and crabs. Those are all hard, and so there you go, flat teeth, right? There's also worms in the ground, and then the rays can suck them out of the ground. Okay, so suction, another feeding style of these guys. Okay, so now you guys know what ray teeth look like. This makes a lot of sense, right? Think about where they live, think about what type of food they eat, and what type of teeth they need to eat that food. So when we explore sharks with their sharp teeth, right? We need to think, what can sharks do with their sharp teeth? And depending on the shark, there's all sorts of different teeth. Right? We're going to talk about 4. The first one being this scary serrated tooth. Like it's a tooth with tiny little serrations on it, right? It's crazy. It's like a little steak knife, right? What is it good for? Slicing, cutting, right? Cutting. Why would you need to cut? Because the prey that they're trying to eat is bigger than its head. Does that make sense? All right. So if you're trying to eat something that's bigger than your head or your mouth, then you're only gonna be able to swallow a small chunk. So you gotta take off the chunk, right? How do you take off the chunk? You slice it off, right? So there you go. You get the serrated teeth to slice off a chunk because you can't swallow the whole thing, right? That's the problem with most animals. They can't chew and they have to swallow the whole thing. And so for a big shark trying to eat a big thing, it has to swallow it. The only way is to cut it up. Okay? All right, so let's watch this little video of serrated teeth in action.
This 10-meter Brutus whale died mysteriously and washed ashore on a public beach. And unsure of what to do with the carcass, the South African police have towed it to Seal Island. Shark after shark descends on the rotting flesh, and the researchers can't believe their luck. They are now within arm's length of perhaps the most spectacular feeding frenzy ever seen.
It's about 8 a.m. on the second morning. As you can see, there's not much left of this whale. The sharks have essentially stripped all of the blubber off of this thing, and all that remains is the internal parts in this sack of muscly flesh, and it's disgusting out here. But there are still a lot of sharks here, and we're going to see what we can do.
For the shark scientist, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He will cautiously board the floating whale carcass to get a close-up view of sharks feeding.
About the dumbest thing I've ever done, and anything for a good picture. Watch out,
The nervous crew looks on, knowing the whale carcass is slicker than it looks, and Strong is only one slip away from going in the water.
That's just freaking crazy, right? It slips right into the shark's mouth. Okay, I just want to show you this one picture, right in the beginning. Right here. Look at these little cookie cutter bites right here, okay? All thanks to its serrated teeth. Okay, so you can't swallow the whale whole. You take chunks out that you can swallow whole. And you can do that because you have serrated teeth that you cut. Alright, so that's the first shark tooth that we're going to look at. The second one, like this, a pointy tooth, right? Now look, usually in our culture, pointy teeth are pretty vicious looking and scary, but they actually don't do as much damage as the serrated tooth, right? this thing that the mako shark has, or if you've seen an aquarium, like a sand tiger shark, right? These really pointy, long teeth. What are they for? Well, just gotta think. Don't you have utensils that approximate these things? You got a steak knife for the serrated one, and for the pointy one, you have a fork, all right? And what do you do with a fork? You stab your prey or your food, right? You stab your food so it doesn't move, right? It doesn't slip out, okay? So it's for slippery fish, right? You're trying to eat small, slippery fish, you know, this kind of tooth that holds the prey, right? It stabs them and holds them in place is good, right? So stabbing, holding slippery fish. Okay, that's this one. Okay, and then the last type of tooth is this. So here's a horn shark. Horn shark open its mouth, looks like this. Look at these. These are shaped like, I don't know, just mounds. They're flat, right? Okay, we've seen blunt teeth before. What are they used for? What do you think the horn shark eats? Probably crabs again, right? Well, let's see. This is probably for crushing, okay? You would probably want to crush something hard. Look at the horn shark. Probably does not live in the pelagic area, also a benthic organism. So feeding on benthic organisms, it probably eats, you know, crabs and mollusks again. Okay, so just like the ray, right? Depending on where it lives, it's probably going to be eating food like that. Okay, so there are sharks out there without sharp teeth, right? This is a mouthful of molars, and it does that because it needs to crush hard-shelled prey. Yes. Okay, any questions on these so far? We've seen 3 different types of shark teeth, right? Let's move on. Okay, well, we all know that sharks have a lot of rows of teeth, like usually 5 to 7, but sometimes more, sometimes less, right? Look, these are the ones that it uses up front, and these are all waiting in the back. What are these for? What was that?
In case one of them breaks.
You mean one of these ones, right?
Yeah.
So if one of these breaks, one of these from behind will move up to take its place. Yeah. Okay, it's for losing teeth. So if a shark loses teeth, then it has a steady supply of teeth in the back that it can use in the future, and it will keep growing teeth in the back so that they have a supply for the rest of their life, right? Okay, so why would they need that, right? And you guys, you only lose teeth once in your life, and then after that, it's permanent, okay? So to talk about that, we'll have to look at the anatomy of their tooth, and it turns out it's because the root of a shark tooth is very poorly developed, okay? It has a very weak tooth root. Alright, so let's look at the root of your teeth. This is your tooth. The crown is here where you bite with. The root is here, bigger than the crown. This is a really nice root, okay? And this root is designed to stay on your jawbone forever, right? Hopefully forever. Well, in contrast, let's look at the shark tooth. The crown is this big, but the tooth root is here, okay? This thing doesn't look like it stays in the jaw very easy, or very, what do you call it? No, very tightly or something, right? It doesn't stay very, like, firmly, okay? So, you know, it's easy to just break it off. Okay, sharks lose teeth all the time. Just when it eats something big, it might lose a tooth, all right? So here's the thing. You have 2 choices here. You either get a better tooth root, or you just grow more teeth. Right? Evolutionarily, it is easier just to grow more teeth, because getting a new tooth root like this needs changes in its DNA, which is going to be millions of years progress, right? Whereas all you do is expend a little bit extra energy and grow some more extra teeth, right? So just like a quantity over quality, right? Okay, so sharks lose a lot of teeth because their tooth roots are not very good, and they go through thousands of teeth in their lifetime. Now, let's take these facts, okay? There's a lot of sharks out there, and each shark has a lot of teeth, and they lose a lot of teeth, and they keep growing these teeth. So let's see, where did sharks originate, right? Looking at this phylogeny here, sharks are very primitive. They started out super early, 400 million years ago. So for the past 400 million years, we have had sharks losing thousands of teeth, right? What does that entail? Well, if you want to go find a fossil, your best bet is to look for shark teeth. Right? Shark teeth are the most abundant fossils to be found. right? That's all because, you know, each shark has hundreds of teeth, thousands, and they've been losing teeth for millions of years. Okay? So, most abundant fossil, right? You guys can go on eBay and buy like maybe 100 of these. Okay, they're not gonna be super good condition, but I mean, it's a fossil, whatever, right? It's cool. You get like 100 of these for maybe like $6, right? This necklace that I have right here has a fossil shark teeth, right? Because modern shark teeth are white, right? But then the fossil ones have been replaced by some sort of rock, so it's usually either brown or black, right? So I want to tell you guys something. I want you guys' opinion on this, right? This is kind of like interesting. So back when I was in my sophomore year of college, right? So in my sophomore year of college, my sister went to the Natural History Museum and she bought me a shark tooth necklace, right? It had a black string on it and the shark tooth, and it didn't have anything attached the shark tooth to the necklace. So I went to the chemistry lab and I got some copper wire and I wrapped it around, and now I have a little shark tooth necklace, right? So I really like that necklace, and I took it off every time I went to the shower, and one time I forgot. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta take this off. So I just took it off and I threw it out of the shower. When I checked it later, I broke the shark tooth. I'm like, oh man, what do I do? So I just went on, that's when I discovered eBay and how you can go buy hundreds for super cheap. So I bought a bunch, and then I tied a new shark tooth on there. Okay, cool. So then another year passes, and same thing happens. I get out of the shower and I'm holding the necklace, and it gets caught on the doorknob. And this time it rips the necklace and it breaks it. So I replaced the string. And now I have this white string, which is a lot dirtier now. But so do you see what I did there? I replaced every component of the necklace one by one. Is it still my sister's necklace, or is it a new one now? Is it a new one? Who thinks it's the same necklace? Nobody. Who thinks it's a new one? Okay, so most of you guys. That's interesting, right? Okay, so sharks have interesting teeth, and you can find fossils relatively easy, depending on where you are, right? So if you go to South Carolina or Florida, there are places where you can go diving for shark teeth. Right? Watch these guys. I'm so jealous, right? They just go down and they're literally picking them off the ground. There's so many. Right? Okay. Look at that. There's like dinosaur teeth, or that's probably actually a whale tooth, but they're like, look at that, just like all these sitting around. Just megalodon teeth just like lying around there. That's crazy. Okay, yeah, that's what I would be saying too. I wish I could do that. Okay, so shark teeth mining, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that one day. Okay, so the last type of tooth, right, belongs to these guys. And this is the basket shark. This is the megalodon. And this one's called? It's a whale shark. Yeah. So we got these huge sharks out here. You look at their mouth and they're like, oh look, they don't have any teeth inside. Right? Oh, by the way, what are these? Those are gills, yeah. Good. Okay, so they don't have any teeth. So what do they eat then? Well, turns out these guys, they eat plankton. Okay, so how do they do it? Right? Take a big gulp of water, and they get the water to flush out of their gills, and their gills have small little structures inside that catch the plankton. Filter feeding, right? Using their gill rakers. So not a siphon this time, right? They're using their gill rakers to do filter feeding, and therefore they are not using teeth to bite down on anything. Right, Joe Brian?
Like Nemo.
Like Nemo? What do you mean like Nemo?
Because there's
Oh, Destiny. right? You talk about Destiny, the whale shark.
From the first one when they're just sitting there and the whale comes.
Oh, the whale in the first one, right, that swallows them,
Yeah.
right, and is only interested in eating plankton, right? Exactly. Okay, so this is not a whale, but whales do filter feeding as well, right? It's okay. We'll go over whales eventually, right? Okay, so gill rakers, right? Okay, so they use their gills to eat. They don't use their teeth to eat, okay, unlike us and everything else. So if you want to look at its teeth, okay, let's take a look at its teeth. Microscopic, okay, like they're tiny like this. How would you guys like to describe these teeth? Anybody have a nice little word we can use? Vestigial. Why do you say that? Yeah, they're small. Do they use them to eat? What do they use instead? Their gills. They use their gills to eat. They don't use their teeth. All right. So yes, these are vestigial teeth. They still have teeth. They're just tiny like that. All right. So and it still has the rows, but yeah, it doesn't use them any longer. All right. So these guys have vestigial teeth. Right. That is the fourth type of tooth. And if you have vestigial teeth and you do not use those teeth to eat, instead you'll probably eat something else that doesn't require teeth, like plankton. Okay. So plankton using their gill rakers. Okay, so in addition to these three sharks, whale shark, basking shark, major mouth shark, you also have a ray that does this. Anybody know which ray? Yeah, manta ray. Okay, so this is the manta ray, a big ray that also does filter feeding, right? In Mexico, it is known as El Manta Diablo. Why? Yeah, because those two fins look like horns, right? But yeah, these are found in tropical waters, right? You can see them in Hawaii as well. But yeah, they just swim around. They're not bad or anything, right? They just eat plankton. Okay, what do they use to eat their plankton? Same thing, their gills, right? Okay, you guys can see their gills right here. Count them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Okay, 5 gills. Okay, just disclaimer, there's actually a 6-gilled shark and a 7-gilled shark, but that's like 3 or 4 species out of 350, so the rest of them have. Okay, so these guys, as you guys can see, they're pretty big, right? They're bigger than all the other sharks, right? I think the third biggest shark is probably, it's not this one, it's actually Greenland shark, I think, but still pretty big, right? I mean, like 17 feet, still pretty big. And the manta ray itself is also really big. So there you go. Things that eat plankton tend to be huge, right? And if we're thinking about what else eats plankton in the ocean, whales, right? They're also huge, right? And probably the reason for that is plankton, there's just so many plankton because plankton is on really low on the trophic level. So if you're eating something low on the trophic level, then you have a very big supply of food because the lower you are on the trophic level, the more biomass you have, right? So you look on land and the same thing happens. Things that eat grass and stuff are huge, like elephants and giraffes, right? Because their supply of food is just much greater than that of carnivores, right? Carnivores have to eat meat and there's less animals than plants to eat. Right? So like lions and stuff are not as big as like a buffalo. Okay. All right. So anyways, that's it for the sharks lecture. So we can probably take a break now. Let's see. Yeah, let's just take a break right now. That's fine. Okay. Sharks. Okay, so let's take a break for about 5 minutes, all right, and then we'll come back and we'll do the fish part.